Hello Year 10. What we're going to do in this video is just talk you through the process of analysing a cartoon, a contemporary cartoon, that's one from the time, in order to be able to see what comment the cartoonist is making. Okay. Now this cartoon should be fairly familiar to us. It's one that we will have seen in Year 9, but in order to refresh our memories and equip us with the tools we need as historians to analyse any cartoon, not just one we've seen before, I'm going to take this opportunity to review this one with you. Okay, so let's start down here by looking at the context. That's the background of the cartoon, what was going on at the time, and the provenance here will always help you with this. So we're told this is a British cartoon published in 1919. Now 1919, we should remember, is after the First World War. First World War ends in 1918. It's around the time that the Treaty of Versailles is being decided on, the peace treaty that brought the war to the end and decided on the terms. It's a British cartoon, so you might remember that the British opinion of how to treat Germany at the end of the First World War was a little bit confused. The people of Britain wanted to squeeze Germany until the pips squeaked, to get revenge on her for the many lives lost and the sons and brothers and fathers who died or been injured. Whereas some British politicians, they were more concerned that to treat Germany too harshly would in fact force her to seek revenge later on. So that gives us the background. It tells us this cartoon is very possibly going to comment or be commenting on the Treaty of Versailles. If we go up here, we can see that there is a central character in the cartoon, and he appears to be being squeezed. Now he's wearing a military uniform. You can see the boots down at the bottom. Sorry, there they are. And you can see his military hat there, but he's also got a sticking plaster on his head. So he's an injured representative of the German military forces. He represents Germany. And this central figure is being squeezed by this hand here. If you look close at the hand, you can see it reads British Empire, France, America, Italy, Japan. And they are all representing the countries who'd fought together against Germany during the First World War. Now they're forcing into the German figure's mouth this pill here. Now, we don't think of medicine pills or tablets as being round anymore. It's a bit of an old-fashioned way of viewing them, but they were certainly in the early 20th century. And on this pill is written the words peace terms, so referring to those terms of the Treaty of Versailles. And remember, we can conjure those up in our minds, we can recall those through the acronym TRAWL: Territory, Reparations, Armaments Lost, War Guilt, and League of Nations that they weren't allowed in. Okay. Now, there are four men here forcing this pill into this figure who's being squeezed, he's being crushed by the winning countries. We tend to think of the big three, but at the time sometimes thought of as the big four. That's Woodrow Wilson here, the tall gentleman from the USA, President of the USA. Georges Clemenceau, whose nickname you remember was the Tiger. He was the President of France who wanted the particularly harsh treaty. We can see that from his large moustache. And David Lloyd George here at the front, the Welshman who was British Prime Minister. And in the middle is Vittorio Orlando. He was the Italian Prime Minister, but you may remember Italy swapped sides during the First World War, so weren't always given the same credit or the same say in the Treaty of Versailles. And these four are a university. They're all together saying you've got to swallow it whether you like it or not. That's a reference to the fact that the Treaty of Versailles was a diktat, a dictated peace. The German word is diktat, D-I-K-T-A-T. That meant the Germans had no choice. They were forced to sign the treaty under threat of invasion. And we've just talked about the terms, just remind you of the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. So you may remember that one of those terms was the reparations. Okay, it says here on the pill box they're worth millions a box, and the reparations were set at £6.6 billion, or 6,000 million pounds if you prefer. Okay, sorry, 600 million pounds if you prefer. And that's reference to the fact those reparations were set extremely high. Now, looking at this cartoon as a whole, then we should always, once we've got the context, the background, and we have looked at the content, which the arrows are highlighting to you now, we should be able to make a comment. So what was the cartoonist's opinion? Now it's very likely that the cartoonist actually didn't agree with the Treaty of Versailles. He sees it as too harsh on Germany. He's acknowledging that Germany is battered and bruised at the end of the First World War, and that the winning countries, the winning side, the Allies, are crushing Germany and forcing the peace terms upon her in order to get their reparations, their millions of bucks. They're forcing this diktat. You must swallow it whether you like it or not. And there's a suggestion as well, the peace terms, if you look, the peace terms themselves here, the pill is very, very large. In fact, it's too large for the German figure's mouth, and it's likely that if he were to swallow that, he's going to choke, which may suggest to us the cartoonist thinks that the terms of the treaty were too harsh and Germany could not cope with them. Okay, so now we've walked through that one with you, and we've analysed that cartoon. This is the cartoon you will see next lesson. Okay, another cartoon from a similar sort of time period, this one 1921. So again, in reference to Treaty of Versailles, by a different cartoonist though. So we'll have a go at analysing this one in the lesson. I've talked you through the process. You'll need to analyse this one, and I'll come and give you some support if you get stuck. So I look forward to seeing you next time with this cartoon to have a look at. Thank you very much.